Okay, Endless Memories, Part 2. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm in search of a topic on which to write. Though limited by my immediate surroundings, I make use of knowledge and creative insight. I close my eyes and try to relax, thinking of everything and nothing at all. The coolness of the breeze, the birds and the bees, my baby brother now 6 feet tall. Sunday morning services, my brothers and I, all made to sit on one oversized seat. Mom always there with a switch in her hand, not hesitant to awaken us if we fall asleep. Olivia Adams from San Antonio, Texas, face of an angel with dreamy blue eyes. How odd the people we choose to remember. Long farewells and sad goodbyes. Marilyn Stewart from Lakeland, Florida, in need of a ride one Thursday night. From one honest deed you would not believe, 5 days later she became my wife. Time really flies when you're having fun. I can't believe it's 9:45. I truly must go, but you'll be happy to know. At the same time tomorrow, I'll do it again. Anyway, that's Endless Memories Part 2. Now, did Part 1 and Part 2 followed each other exactly the way it said. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, it was 9 o'clock in the morning when I began. And when I ended when I ended my writing, it said 9:45 or something like that. But back then I could write almost effortlessly. If I'm thinking about it, I write about it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. I was living with Dennis Buongiorno. It's a paraplegic. I was hired by I was actually private. I was private, his private nurse, 24-hour live-in. And I had to take care of him as far as his every little thing. Being that he was a paraplegic, he was paralyzed from his waist on down. So in other words, his legs did not work at all. His hands, they worked, but they had some type of neurological damage just as well. So all the tools and things that he used, like his brush, it had a certain grip handle on it that he could grip. When he drove his vehicle, it had a certain thing, a little thing that he used in order to gear shift. And it was a very nice little setup that he had. I mean, the only sad part is that he was a very, very, very contentious, very negative prejudice guy. Not prejudice so much in black and white, that I can tolerate, black and white. That just shows ignorance. But when a person is prejudiced because of a person's lack of ability to do it, not lack of ability, but lack of desire to do a certain thing they're able to do, there's no need to be prejudiced against that. I mean, if you are, you are. But, for the most part, when you find yourself feeling or being prejudiced against anything, be it color or whatever, to put it this way, if you're prejudiced against color, then you're gone anyway. I mean, your mind is gone. That's the way I look at it. If you're prejudiced against blacks, or whites, or whatever, then your mind is, this is not for you, And the only reason why I say that is because if you can be that superficial, the very thing that has been the downfall of our society for the longest, if you could be that superficial as in to adherent yourself in those ways of thinking, when there are, say, if you're white and you're prejudiced against blacks, and there are black people out there that have extraordinary conquests, extraordinary goals that they have achieved, some thrown in their lap, but then others, they really worked hard to do so. The author of a bestseller, Oprah Winfrey talk show, Michael Jordan basketball, Mr. MC Handy, the blues, Richard Wright, well, anyway, a whole bunch, and artists alone. When you see black folks like that are doing the do, what I'm saying, productively with earning money and stuff like that, It's all a good thing. You know, it's a good thing. Now, you must go back to the basics, because the love of money is the root of all evil. We understand that. You know, now in the Bible, when it said that it is easier for poor man to enter into the kingdom of heaven than it is for a rich man to enter, as easy as it is the rich man trying to go through the eye of a needle. A camel trying to go through the eye of a needle. That is representative of a rich man trying to get into heaven. Poor man, it's easy to get into heaven. You know what I'm saying? Humble, la da 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 da. So it's not saying not to be rich. It's just saying that if you let that money go to your head, then that's going to be your reward. Heaven shall not be. Your reward is going to be whatever you find yourself to be accomplishing here on this earth. If you feel it to be an accomplishment, and you don't give God the glory in a sense, and not just in your words. I mean, people say give God the glory, la da 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 da. Well, let me tell you, you don't have to tell me you're giving God the glory. Your actions will portray that. Everything that you do would portray that. Whoever you're giving the glory to for your accomplishments, for your failures, or for whatever, it's quite evident in your actions, in the things that you do, the way you respond. This is what makes it evident. Because if I tell you I'm going to give you $1 million if you say I love you, Lord, then, okay, you'll be like, I love you, Lord. Now where's my $1 million? Well, he said, stay faithful unto me until death, and then I will give you that mansion, that robe, and a crown. So what's the difference? Faith. $1 million, you can see it in front of you. The person said, I will give you this $1 million if you chop off your finger. 9 times out of 10, that person's going to chop off their finger. Why? It's $1 million. It's going to take them a lot to chop off their finger, but they're going to chop off their finger. People say, no, I wouldn't chop off my finger. They had a movie called Indecent Proposal. Guy gave Cage, or whatever his name is, Gage or whatever, he offered a man $1 million to have one night with his wife. You know that man turned him down at first. Now you know that ain't based off of no reality. Of course, if it's something advertised, if a person came up to me and said, man, okay, and I'm married, and he said, man, and there's other people around, videotaped and everything, man, I'll give you $1 million if you let me have one night with your wife. You know what I would say? Alrighty then. Yes, I would. You could have one night with my wife. Of course, for $1 million. People have done worse. That's because I'm a sicko. Because I admit. Now, I wouldn't mind asking somebody else that very question. Now, if I ask a millionaire that question, a millionaire, 9 times out of 10 will say yes behind closed doors. But a millionaire ain't going to say that. A millionaire will feel flabbergasted. You know, that kind of thing. Poor person, 9 times out of 10, yes. Anyway, besides the point. Whole nother subject, a whole nother thing to get into. But, okay, now that was part 2. So now we go to Endless Memories, part 3. Aha, be right back.